So I watched Chalene Johnson's YouTube video called Do These 10 Things to Lose Weight After 40. And I resonated with a lot of things in the video, particularly eating real food and balancing hormones to lose fat. But this can be really tricky if we're going through menopause and craving a lot of sugar. So if you're over the age of 50 and struggling with losing fat because you often find yourself craving sugar even after satisfying your sweet tooth and you feel guilty and out of control, then this video is for you. Trying to lose fat as a menopausal woman is challenging enough as it is. But add a plant-based diet to the mix and you've got yourself a whole new set of challenges, particularly if previous protein options such as meat and dairy that help to curb your appetite are no longer on the menu. Of all the challenges that menopausal women face, sugar cravings is one of the biggest, especially for those of us who already have a sweet tooth. Sugar is high in calories and it works against our fat loss goals because it drives us to overeat. So reducing sugar as much as possible to prevent falling into the binge cycle and avoid overeating is essential to managing our weight. And I'm going to discuss today how to reduce sugar cravings and easily get back on track after a sugar binge. I'm Jennifer Lipscomb and I help Black menopausal women with a sweet tooth lose fat with quick, tasty, and cheap meals on a plant-based diet without skipping dessert. In part one of this two-part series, we'll cover why and when menopausal women experience sugar cravings and how to prevent them from getting out of control. I'll talk about why we crave sugar, how to identify triggers that lead to binges, and finally, tips for preventing cravings before they even start. Why do menopausal women crave sugar? One of the most common symptoms that women experience during menopause, besides hot flashes and sleep disturbances, is cravings for sugar, which can be attributed to a number of different factors. One factor is the decrease of estrogen. When estrogen levels decrease, this causes an imbalance in other hormones like insulin, ghrelin, and leptin, which can disrupt our appetite and hunger signals, and cravings for sugar is one way our bodies try to satisfy our appetite by driving us to eat sugar to get the quick energy it needs. A second factor is the increase in cortisol. The decline in estrogen levels can lead to an increase in cortisol as the body tries to compensate for the hormonal fluctuations. The elevated cortisol levels then lead to an increase in anxiety, mood swings, and sleep disturbances. And each of these symptoms on their own are known to drive us to overeat. A third factor, particularly for menopausal women on a plant-based diet, is nutrition deficiencies. Menopausal women on a plant-based diet that contains mostly processed food and very little fruits and vegetables are likely to be missing some essential nutrients like iron, vitamin B12, vitamin D, calcium, magnesium, and chromium. A lack in nutrients can impair sugar metabolism, contribute to mood swings, and increase sugar cravings. So now that we know some of the reasons why women crave sugar, let's talk about how to identify the triggers that can lead to a binge, because a craving is harmless until it leads us to overeat. So how do you become aware of the cues that can trigger a binge? There are 4 basic types of cues that can warn you that you're entering into dangerous territory. These cues are emotional, environmental, physical, both internal and external, and food related. The first type of cue is the emotional cue, which includes anger, stress, boredom, loneliness, sadness, depression, or anxiety. When feeling any of these emotions, menopausal women are often driven to overeat mainly processed food and food with lots of sugar in order to self-soothe and ease feelings of discomfort. The second type is the environmental cue. This type of cue occurs with certain places, events, or social situations where we find ourselves surrounded by a lot of food high in sugar, like festivals or fairs, amusement parks, or theaters. When we're simply surrounded by friends and family members for celebrations like birthday parties or for holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas, for example. At these types of celebrations, we're being offered a lot of food with refined sugar, or we're around a lot of friends and family who are eating a lot of sugar, and it's often very difficult to overcome the social pressure to eat it. The third type is the physical cue, which can be both external and internal. The external cue is seeing food or smelling food containing lots of refined sugar, like passing by a bakery and smelling fresh cinnamon rolls, which stimulate your appetite, or seeing on TV a nice moist piece of chocolate cake that triggers your mouth to water. Both of these scenarios introduce sugary foods into your thoughts and produce an urge or a craving. The internal cue represents physiological sensations that occur in your body either as a result of sugar or independently of sugar. For instance, if you taste food such as processed food or highly palatable food containing sugar, the taste sends information to our pleasure centers in our brain and it drives us to overeat. Or you may experience physical symptoms that may prompt you to think about dessert to calm you or to put you at ease, like in the case of an emotional cue. The physiological sensations include nervousness, racing heart, sweaty palms, headache, jitters, fatigue, dry mouth, low concentration, or low energy. Some of these sensations are actually symptoms of dehydration, and some may be a consequence of an event or incident, and they often direct your attention to sugar in order to fix the problem. To help you identify the cues that trigger you to overeat, you can start a food journal or simply add an entry in your current daily journal, if you have one, listing the food that you eat daily, making sure to note the times when you have the cravings, where you are, who you're with, what you're feeling, and why. This will help you discover any patterns and help you to take action to avoid those particular environments, events, settings that triggers overeating, or it can help you to create a strategy in order to deal with the trigger or to avoid it if all possible. So now we know cues that can lead to a trigger, which can drive you to overeat or binge on sugar. Let's talk about several tips to help prevent cravings before they even start. The first tip is to drink lots of water. Drinking water is especially important for the menopausal woman because we often mistake thirst for hunger and reach for a quick energy boost like sweet food instead of drinking water. The second tip to help prevent or reduce sugar cravings is to replace the processed food or food containing sugar with more whole fruits and veggies. Most processed food contains lots of hidden sugar that stimulates the pleasure centers in our brain and drives us to overeat. We can reduce the amount of sugar in our system and our hormones are realigned. A well-balanced diet can help stabilize blood sugar levels and prevent sugar cravings. Additionally, eating frequent smaller meals throughout the day can help keep blood sugar levels steady because dips in blood sugar can lead you to binge if you're less likely to be mindful while you're eating and you end up missing your fullness cues. The third tip to prevent or reduce cravings is to make your desserts at home. Like processed meals, store-bought desserts contain a lot of sugar, and it drives us to overeat. By replacing the refined sugar with whole fruits like dates, bananas, or apples, you help keep your blood sugar levels low. Also, by preparing your own desserts, you're able to increase protein, fats, and fiber, which help curb your appetite and support fat loss. The fourth tip to reduce cravings is to exercise. Regular exercise in your routine can help manage stress, balance blood sugar by lowering insulin levels, and boost the production of endorphins, which can improve your mood and reduce sugar cravings. Regular exercise does not necessarily mean strenuous physical activity. Walking can go a long way, literally and figuratively, but it doesn't have to be beneficial. The fifth and last tip to reduce sugar cravings is to get quality sleep. Establishing a consistent sleep routine, avoiding caffeine and electronics before bedtime, and creating a comfortable sleep environment can help improve sleep quality and reduce stress so that you're less likely to experience sugar cravings or make poor food choices during the day. These tips are good to incorporate in your daily routine to support fat loss because they ensure that you consistently lower the amount of sugar in your diet, which helps to keep your blood sugar balanced and your hormones regulated so that your cravings remain low. To learn how to prepare tasty desserts that support fat loss by balancing your blood sugar, reducing cravings, and curbing your appetite, you can join my free mini fat loss course where I provide you with a workbook that shows you exactly how to get started. In part 2 of How to Reduce Cravings, I go into further details on managing cravings in the moment and how to get back on track after a sugar binge. Click on the notification button in order to be notified right away once the next episode is available. And remember, guilt-free always tastes better. Take care.